I'd like to welcome you to this summit symposium, From Vulnerability to Resilience. And this is the main conference theme. And we're so happy to have several experts on this topic to give us their perspectives. I hope that we can have a free and honest exchange of ideas. And we also welcome participants to submit their questions so that we can have a fruitful, productive session. Now, how about this picture? Paradise Lost and the Forbidden Fruit. Sadly speaking, human story is one of vulnerability, but it's also one of redemption and resilience. Now, most people's knee reaction to the word vulnerability is a negative one. They equate that with weaknesses. But we should remember that we're all mortals. We're all mortals. We're not God. We all need a boundary of forbidden fruit to remind us who we are. Every time we cross the invisible line and try to play God, disaster strikes. And so much human suffering results from the fact that we forget that we are mere mortals, fragile and vulnerable mortals. And in fact, I think that the pandemic, the present pandemic, is the result of us violating some boundary. Okay. Now, what's the connection between vulnerability and resilience? My hypothesis is that vulnerability is essential for our resilience. For example, we know that any trauma or any adversity can either break you or make you stronger. Now, all depends how we respond. Can you think about what is the best way to be resilient? I propose that it's not strength per se, but as Taoism claims, as Lao Tzu taught us, be like water. Water is weak, look like weak and soft, but water can overcome and defeat anything. Now, the first point I want to share with everyone is that vulnerability is an existential reality. No one is immune from it. Death is only a breath away. Those people who think they are invulnerable and they refuse to take vaccine, sooner or later, they might die from COVID-19. In fact, every action we take, when we reach out our hand to make friends, when we speak in front of people, what do? We run the risk of rejection and failure. If we try to avoid vulnerability, we end up become prisoners of our fear. We have no life. So all the good things in life are on the other side of fear. We'll be vulnerable, willing to be vulnerable in order to enjoy a full life, in order to become resilient. So therefore, Brené Brown, she has made a lot of contributions in this area. She said, you know what? It's wrong to view vulnerability as weaknesses. Vulnerability is actually the birthplace of joy, belonging, creativity, authenticity, and love. Because if you are afraid, you never find true love. You never experience success. Look at the joy of the Olympic champions. Look at the excitement, the joy in winning. But they're able to have that only after they are willing to be vulnerable to failure, to despair, and to getting hurt, to injury. And Apostle Paul said that my weakness is my strength. I say the same thing. Whenever I'm weak, I become strong. Do you know why? Because my vulnerability, my weakness keep me humble. I cannot start a day without humbly asking for God's help, God's guidance. I can't go through the day without begging other people help. I have beg my little assistant team to help me with technical stuff. I will help my wife to open a jar because my hands are too weak. I can't go through a day without making myself vulnerable and humbly asking for help. So I say that faith, hope, and love, they all come from awareness of vulnerability. So I'm currently working on a vulnerability awareness skill. I want to investigate whether a healthy sense of vulnerability is a good predictor of resilience, mental health, and mental happiness. Now, having said that, faith, hope, love, these are essential internal resources. Okay? But there's some other things we can also learn. It's, the first one is blocked, okay? It's courage, I think it's courage, acceptance. We need courage, we need acceptance, we need self-transcendence. We need to look at everything as meaningful. We need to appreciate other people's help. And we need to have compassion. Now, people often say compassion means weakness. Compassion, that means you always say yes. But sometimes compassion requires tough love, requires surgery. Compassion is not incompatible with doing the right thing. So if we're able to have all these things, we can be vulnerable every day, but still we can live a productive and flourishing life. I'm sure my distinguished colleagues can contribute to this subject. So now I yield the time to my panelists.